Hello everybody, my name is Benji, and welcome back to Dyson Sphere Program, where last time, and in between episodes, I finished up everything that we had to do for intermediate processing of all of our science, which today we can go through each of the planets and give a little bit of a tour before moving on to the science, which is the culmination of our project, completely finalized. So this is planetary orbit number 1. Planet number 1, this is where we have our titanium and our silica, as well as all of our alternative smelting. So we have titanium, we have silica, and lots of it, diamonds, silica crystals, or crystal silica, whichever one it is, graphene, and carbon nanotubes from spiniform stalagmite crystal and fire ice. Non-respectively. Reverse order. We also have our wonderful Casimir crystals being produced here, with a bunch of logic stations requesting hydrogen, as well as a bunch of logic stations requesting the actual optical grading crystals. We also have a slew of exports on this planet, mainly being just different ores, so, not titanium, stone, coal, which I actually don't know why that one is not currently gathering coal. That's a little bit confusing. And I also turned off the resource HUD for the tour. But there is coal on this planet. I don't know why it's not being requested right here. I might try changing that. I don't know. I will figure that out when it becomes a problem. So let's move on to the second planet. Our second planet in orbit is our intermediate processing world. So yet again, we have a whole bunch of resource senders here, sending every single resource on the entirety of the planet, including, well, everything. There is no smelting on this planet whatsoever. These 8, or I guess technically 9, I think this one's only requesting warpers though. These logic stations, which some of them don't have the actual components that they need, are gathering all of our materials that we require for this planet. So copper, iron, silica, titanium, magnets, water as well. I'm pretty sure there's one other one. No, I guess not. Then we have our circuit boards, titanium crystals, concrete, microcrystalline components, processors, copper magnets, which I don't actually remember what they're legitimately called, magnetic rings, that's what they're called, gears, motors, electromagnetic turbines, particle containers, quantum chips, and everything that quantum chips require. So titanium glass, plane filters, and the quantum chips themselves are over here. And then last but not least, these 3 are all exporting everything being made on this planet. So quantum chips, processors, circuit boards, titanium crystals, and magnetic coils, not magnetic rings, magnetic coils. And then fractal silica, titanium, silica, coal, stone, iron, copper, everything is being exported by these 9 logistics hubs here. And obviously we have a little bit of extra power up here as well. So let's move on to the third planetary orbit. Our third planetary orbit has all of our copper, iron, and magnet smelting. So we have 9 logic hubs here. I keep forgetting what they're called. 9 logic hubs here that are exporting silica, titanium, and coal that is found on this planet and giving it to the other planets in the system. And then we have all of our iron smelting, magnet smelting, copper smelting, and glass smelting right here. There's still room on this planet should it need to be expanded in any way, shape, or form. Also, the Dyson sphere is fully and entirely complete. to show that here. Dyson Sphere is complete, 91 gigawatts. I do believe that a portion of that, yeah, a decent portion of that is the swarm, but the actual shell is 83 gigawatts, which is more than enough for what we're going to need here, at least as far as right now. So let's go on ahead and move over to our fourth, and then our final step for today will be actually making some progress. So I'll see you over on the fourth planet. Our fourth planet has a lot of production on it, and most of this production is oil-based. Pretty much everything that is on this planet, with the exception of coal, is being exported, so that includes kimberlite, silica, titanium, iron, copper, all the good stuff. I believe there's some fractal silica, if I'm not mistaken. That's all being exported through these 12, and some of these are actually exporting something else, aren't they? No, some of these are demanding deuterium. That's right. Some of these are demanding deuterium, because we also have deuterium processing on this planet. Didn't mean to hit that button. So here we have our reforming refine setups, which each one of these 4 systems here is 30 refined oil per second, with an input of 20 oil and 10 coal per second. We have some energetic graphite smelting here. Then we have our X-ray cracking, which is mainly just for, or actually is entirely just for red science. So we could have done this on the science planet, but it's a bit large, so I didn't feel like doing that. Then we have our 3 plastic setups here. We have some of our particle broadband setups. The other 4 are right here. We have our 2 deuterium processes here, which is roughly 45 to 50-ish experimental output of deuterium per second, which is why we also have the legitimate deuterium being brought in straight from the gas giants themselves, just for extra throughput purposes. As a byproduct of that, we have our strange matter all right here. There are 8 of these because each one is 2 per second. And then I did design this off camera. It is a graviton lens setup, and it makes, I want to say, 5 per second, but with the proliferation, that's going to be more like 6, which is perfect because we need that for our ray receiver blueprint, which I don't entirely know where I'm going to put yet, but we'll find a space for it and it'll be fine overall. I'm also going to have to look into what is wrong with this, because the remote demand should already have this coming to it, and it's not. So I'm going to have to go check on that before we can get on with the science. But the next time that you guys see me, we are going to be in the 5th planet's orbit. Science manufacturing. Planet number 6 is currently unused. It's only exporting the kimberlite and every other resource, and if we need to use it for anything, we will. But right now, it's a little too far. Like, distance 18.95, that's a little bit far for me, so we're just leaving it be for now. So I'm gonna figure out what the heck is going on over here with those particle containers, and I will be back shortly. Alright, now that we are done with the tour, we can get on with progress, and I doubt you were expecting to come back to see my Dyson Sphere builder blueprint up and running. The issue is I checked my Dyson Sphere stuff, and first of all, I accidentally deleted a shell, which is why there's a bunch of orange solar sails just kind of chilling. That's what this huge spike is right there. I accidentally deleted this while I was pasting the other one, the other layer down here, so... Oh, I'm gonna have to recolor it too. I didn't even think about that. But yeah, messed up on the color. Totally my bad. Or messed up on the blueprint. Totally my bad. Complete and entire mistake there. And it's currently building now, but my energy consumption without the sails, the swarm, would be under the general consumption. So we would have less than 100%, and that's a problem. That's a very large problem, because we want this to be operating at peak efficiency without hemorrhaging sails out the wazoo, which is why we went to Saturn and made a Dyson sphere, so that we wouldn't be hemorrhaging any cells. Or sails, not cells, sails. So I reactivated the blueprints, and here we go. The small carrier rocket launchers are finally starting to get going. And now we can move on to the actual goal of today's episode, science. Roughly half the episode for the tour, and the other half of the episode for the actual progress. Also, I went on ahead and made this blueprint happen. This is a way to get rid of the hydrogen that's being produced here and not have to worry at all about it being used for other things, although I do have this... I do have this set to remote supply, just so that it can be used for other initiatives. And actually what I might do is that, and then do this instead. That way it'll get burned first, and then it'll go off to turn into like Casimir crystals or something like that. So anyway, on to the science. I've prepared a little bit of a demonstration here. This is going to be the general blueprint for our science setups. So our science is going to be 2 lanes with a varying length of the lane and a varying height of our science machines making each of our science, because every single science in the entire game, apart from white science, is a 2 input, 1 output, and then obviously we're going to be using Proliferation Mark III. So first and foremost, go on ahead and first of all jack this down to 1,000, and then actually, why don't we just have... Hang on a second. I have a better idea than that. How about instead we have 1 planetary terminal, say right here, that's entirely dedicated to grabbing us the wonderful blue proliferation. I feel like that's a much better idea. So it's a lot more finicky to get that now that I've jacked up the logistic carrier capacity, which gives us extra storage capacity and extra carrying capacity. That's the main reason why I did it. So we'll go on ahead, we'll do that, and then obviously add it into the charging. That was the wrong pole, but I think it still worked. It did. And then obviously we're suffering for power at the moment because of the fact that we're launching sphere parts from back here, but at the end of the day, that's not really the worst thing in the world. My personal opinion. Obviously, that's suffering. Oh, I'm so stupid for doing that. Anyway, first up on the list is blue science, and the general consensus that I have is that the way that I'm going to do this for the first 3 sciences is we're going to have a 10 per second blueprint, and then for the purple and green and white, we're going to have a 5 per second blueprint. So blue science requires magnetic coils and circuit board. And we're going to jack these down to 7,000. Yes, 7,000. And we're going to keep this at 7,000 as well. And I had the idea of either using the 6th planet that's way out here for the actual research, or doing the research on this planet. It depends on how many labs I want to have for the research. So for right now, we're just going to do local supply and local and remote supply. And then these obviously have to be remote demand and remote demand. Just like that. Perfection. 1 light year, 18 AU, and everything else is good. This, local demand. Hopefully we get the blue proliferation before we get these, actually. That would a good thing. And then for the blue science, in order to have the blue science properly at 10 per second, we need to have 2 rows of 15 labs each. So 15 labs is gonna be out to there. And then each row is gonna be stacked to 3 high. Yes, that is correct. Checking my notes here. And then obviously you guys have seen this before, where I take the belt and run it the whole way out. The only thing that sucks about labs is that you can't actually take this again and put it on the ground level. It automatically stacks it. So that was simply to measure the length overall. And then in order to actually have it connect to the belt, we'll have to get rid of it all. Measure it out again. Like so. And the internal as well. Then we can grab the first set and do that. And grab the second set, do that. And then I am sadly going to have to click this a whole bunch of times. But that is the general idea that we've got going for us. And then I am going to be using these, because we're not going to be able to have these right next to each other, so we're just going to use these for it anyway. Oh my goodness. I don't think that's going to be possible to saturate with our hydrogen, which is also not being produced because we're not using the antimatter right now. So I'm going to fix that real quick, place the rest of these, and then we'll move on to red science, and I'll talk about that as well. So obviously I made a mistake, and the ratio was pretty obvious as I was looking at the belt inflowing with the items being completely and entirely full, and I was like, there's no way that the proliferation 25% bonus gives me that much more. Like, this is supposed to be 10 per second. 25% of 10 is 2.5, so this is like a 12.5 per second build. It equates to about 30, a little more than, which is exactly what we want it to be. There's no way that I messed up the math that badly. Like, there is no physical way that I messed up the math that bad. And that's because I didn't. And I'm just stupid. That's literally all it is. I'm just stupid, and yeah, that's literally it. So anyway, moving on to the red science now. We're pretty much just going to copy the exact same build that we have. Ooh, also, I'm playing this in the new update. There was a September update, came out on September 27th, and it added a couple of things. We're going to be talking about those in a video after I finish the entirety of the series, so I haven't looked into some of the new stuff yet. Like, there is the distribution logistics system, which is really amazing for early game logistics. And then there's also the mesoscopic quantum entanglement, which is the quantum chemical plant, or the chemical plant Mark II, which would have been great to have for this project, but I've already blueprinted everything. So no, I'm not messing with that. So yeah, we'll be talking about those at a later date. Right now, I just want to get all of this wonderful, wonderful, wonderful stuff done. So next up is red science, and red science is, wouldn't you know it, hydrogen, and also, wouldn't you know it, energetic graphite. And we are still going to keep that 7,000 mark. Sure, it should be 7,000. My gosh, it's so much harder to control. It's ridiculously hard to control. And then remote demand and remote demand. Perfect and perfect. Go on ahead and put those in there as well. And now we should just be able to do this. And in order to get a rate of 10 per minute, this is twice the crafting time, which is super stupid. But in order to get 10 per minute, we are going to need to stack these all the way to 6. And And now that's red science cubes. So I can go on ahead and copy this. Late game science. Blueprints in the description, by the way. Red cubes. Red cubes. 10 per second. And add it. Boom. And then we can do the exact same thing that we just did with the blue cubes, where we put them like this. Oh. That's a problem. So we can't do it exactly the same way because it's too close to another logistics station. Yeah, too close to another logic station. If I place it up there, it gets rid of the logic station issue, but it's not in line properly. So let's try that again. Get it actually in line properly. That. But I still want... There. Perfect. I do still want my... both of these. So, that's how we solve that problem. I keep forgetting to do this. I promise I'll do that with the blueprints. It'll work with the automatic input because this is super late game, so automatic input is entirely feasible. I promise I will make that work properly. How much time are we at? We're at 20 minutes. I need to move my drink so I can actually see my recording time. And that's still requesting, that's still requesting. Those are all coming from the oil planet, so there's the cluster. There's the 3 clusters, actually, from the oil processing world. And then next up, we will go on ahead and resume back to our normal. So let's go on ahead and blueprint this in a way that it'll actually let me do this long term. We'll go on ahead and plop that right there. Do not want either of you. Yellow cubes require titanium crystals and diamonds. So titanium crystals and diamonds. I just realized an issue with the last 2 blueprints that I just made, and I'm sad about it because I'm gonna have to fix it. And it's gonna be a pain in my butt to fix it. I forgot to do this. Oh, that's gonna be a pain in my ass. Oh well. I'll fix it for you guys. And then I'm gonna remember to do that this time around. That way that part's not a pain in my butt. And then for this, we get rid of 1 on each side. Yellow cubes. And for this, we actually need 8 in a row stacked all the way up to 5 high. So this is now 5 high, but it's only 5 deep. We need it to be 8 deep. So 6, 7, and 8 for measuring purposes. Just like this. And, oh, I forgot the center belt. Center belt, and while I'm rotating, I may as well go on ahead and grab the outer belt. Perfection. And then that's 3 and 3. And very tall. Ooh, not that tall though. And then for this one, I'm just gonna put this over here because it'll look cool. Wonderful. Now, this is all correct. Yes, it is. So we can copy this. And same thing, late game science. Oh. Slash yellow cubes. Almost forgot that. Yellow cubes. And 10 per second on these. And this will be the last thing that we do for today. And hopefully this allows us. It did. And just really quickly for all of you wonderful people, if you want to know how many labs 30 per second of each of the sciences requires, not even including the white sciences, I just realized I didn't include white sciences in my calculation, but 30 of blue, red, yellow, purple, and green science per second is 1170 labs. Yeah, it pasted the logic vessels. Ah, oh, that's so cool. That's so handy for blueprinting. I wish that would have happened when I recorded the original episode with the intermediate processing planet. Dude, that would have been amazing to have for that planet. That would have been so cool to have. Oh my goodness. And obviously deliveries are just now coming in. I believe we should have our first diamonds in as well. We sure do. And I want to see our yellow science. I'm going to go on ahead and fix the blue science as well. I can't believe I'm a moron and fix that. Blue science, red science. I'm colorblind. I'm not actually, but man. Sometimes I feel like it. There we have our yellow science working, our blue science working, and our red science working. All 3 of the 10 per second science blueprints are finished. Next up, we will move into the purple science and the green science next time, and we will finalize with white science, which I do already have a blueprint for. But it is 2 per second. I want a blueprint that is 5 per second, so I will be redesigning that next time. But for now, thank you everybody so much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed. But without further ado, adios, sayonara, au revoir, hasta la vista, das vidania, auf Wiedersehen, ciao, and goodbye. Please have yourselves all a fantastic rest of your day. Get some sleep if you need to. Don't forget to stay hydrated. This video is in the bag, and I will see you guys in the next one. Later, y'all.